Hello, I thought I'd do a little video on Ethos setting Rotorflight up on a Nitro because I don't believe anyone else has done it before and people seem to struggle with it. You have to bear with me because I've never done anything like this before, I'm quite new to it, and I guess I'm not going to like the sound of my own video, but we'll see. Little disclaimer, I am not an expert. I do what works for me. You can follow it, you can ignore it, you can argue with me. It's up to you. Just going to go through a little walkthrough of what I do to the transmitter, how I do it in the configurator in Rotorflight, and just some basic setup on Nitro stuff with Rotorflight basically. So we'll start with the transmitter stuff first. I'll go into it and hope it helps. Dive in then. So first of all, I've made some notes because I'll get lost otherwise. Throttle trim. One thing people struggle with is like making a nitro idle with Rotorflight. It's not that difficult. Basically, what I've done is I've got all the trims disabled other than the throttle one. And if this was an electric model, I'd disable all the trims. But with a nitro, you want the throttle trim to work so you can adjust the idle. So on my X14, basically, if you look at the screen, if I take it out of throttle hold, you see the trim value changes. So throttle hold, trim doesn't work. Throttle cut, trim doesn't work. Normal mode, which is this switch here, all the way up, I've got trim. Then idle up, or profile 1, profile 2, it doesn't work. Right, I'll show you how I've done that. So if you go in here, into trims, trim throttle, there we go, custom range, so 40% range and a step of 4% because everything else seems too fine, more is too coarse. So all I've done is, if you look here, basically the logic is every other switch position the trim is unplugged apart from SA, which is my flight mode, up, which is normal mode, then it works. But at any other position, so throttle hold, trim doesn't work. Any other flight mode that you see changing, trim doesn't work. And throttle cut, trim doesn't work. So the only time it works is with my flight mode switch all the way up, so it's in normal basically. And that's how I do that bit. Next is throttle hold and throttle cut. So we'll go into my mixes. Channel 6 because this is ELRS. Edit. So I have got a curve set up. So when SA, which is my flight mode, switches all the way up, I've got a curve, as you can see. Then if I flick the switch, full throttle, and the other two, and throttle hold, that's the logic for it there. So basically those two positions there, this one and this one, it's full throttle because the governor will take over. And this one allows me, when it's not in there, to have a curve. And all I've done is I've set the bottom of the curve with a bit of trial and error. I think it's like 1251 PWM, which is where it needs to do to idle basically. So then I've also set my throttle hold to do the same there. And my throttle cut is on the momentary switch, which doesn't work until it shouldn't work. Oh yeah, I've got a logical switch set up for that. I was going to explain that. I'll do that now. So basically, I've got my sprung momentary switch here as throttle cut, which also allows you to arm. So what I've done is that won't work unless throttle holds on as well. It's just a little bit of AND logic which is, what have I done with that then? Why is that not working? Oh, it won't work because needs to be active. I need to be connected to the model, so I've got telemetry. That's why it doesn't work. But basically, when it's connected to the model, that logical switch will be true when throttle holds on and SE's forward. So this switch and sprung forward, which also allows me to arm it, and it also allows me that basically throttle cut doesn't work unless throttle holds on as well as, because you don't want to be in idle up, hit this switch and kill your engine. So that's that. That's just, no, I don't want to delete it. Told you I'm new at this. That's just a back voltage, basically low receiver pack voltage. So there, look, the logic's there. A less than X, so it's less than 7.5 volts, and my arm switches up. That one, it will shout at me. That one's just for jumping to different screens, telemetry screens. Special functions, I only use that really for voice calls when I flick switches like idle up, throttle hold, things like that. What else is there to show you? Mixes, I've done that. Collective is just collective. Got no mixes on that. It's just always on the throttle stick. Banks. If there's enough, there's not enough people taking any interest in it, I won't bother doing it anymore. But if people are struggling, I will do another video and show you how I've done all my banks and stuff like that. But it's pretty simple stuff. What else to show you really? If I go to my outputs on throttle, so if you watch this, looks 1266, but I can alter it with the trim. If I go idle up, goes full throttle, trim, and if I go throttle hold, that's throttle hold, and then if I go with the sprung switch, do my throttle cut, it doesn't do anything, which it should. Why is that? I believe there's been a boo-boo. I'll have to look into that. Is that not working? Have I just altered my logical switch? Oh, of course it won't work, will it? It won't do anything because one of the conditions of the logical switch is that it's looking at back voltage as well, and there won't be because the model's not plugged in. So I mean, there's other ways to do this, like I've got curves that I use in different fixed positions to flick through my bank. There's my normal throttle curve. Yeah, but you could have a curve in normal and then just go when it's not in normal or throttle hold. You could have some logic that says just go to full throttle, because basically that's all my curve is doing. Because once the Rotorflight Gov goes that sees the throttle value past your handover throttle, it takes over anyway. So I think mine's set at 40%. So obviously I can blip the throttle up to 40%, and after that the governor will take over. So that's about that. I don't know what else to show you really. I think that's it. There's nothing too complicated about it. It's just a bit of logic in for the throttle hold, throttle cut, and your throttle trim really, and the rest of it I'll show you on a screen recording with the model plugged in. Okie dokie, I think that's it. I don't think of anything else.